Hi there, and welcome to my new episode of CD Review. Today we're going to be looking at something a bit different to last time. Last time we looked, if you look, peel back, we did the Yes is Back studio catalogue. Today I thought I'd do something a bit more, shall we say, under the title of symphonic rock and shorter songs overall. I'm going to look at the Orchestra, starring former E.L.O and E.L.O Part 2 members. Completely rolls off the tongue, that, doesn't it? I'm going to be looking at two of their albums, the only two I believe that have been released under this incarnation of E.L.O. The Orchestra Live in Lithuania 2008, and the other one's a studio album, which is No Rewind, released in 2001, I believe, although it was subsequently reissued in South America and Europe in 2006. Now, the first one, well, first of all, we'll talk a bit about the history of the orchestra and how they came about. Now, I've been a massive fan of E.L.O. Right from the early days. I've heard all of the classics. I actually preferred some of their lesser well-known material. Um, when Jeff Lynne stopped recording with the original band in the late 70s, I can't remember the date off the top of my head, former E.L.O members, founder members, should I say, Kelly Grauke, bass player, Mick Kaminsky, Louis Clark, and Bev Bevan went on to form E.L.O Part 2 and recruited Eric Troyer and Parson Huxley. Now, towards the end of the millennium, the end of, yeah, that's right, isn't it? Towards the turn of the new millennium, Bev Bevan left the band because he retired from the business and unfortunately sold off all the rights of the names to Jeff Lynne, which meant that they couldn't carry on without using a different name. So this name sort of reflects their past, but also it gives them a new identity in a way. And the drummer who replaced Bev Bevan is a great session musician from Pennsylvania called Gordon Townsend. Now let's have a look at the live album first. We've got yeah, as I say, it was recorded in Lithuania at the I can't remember the venue of the name of it, Philips Arena. That's it, the 8,000 seater one, with the Lithuanian National Symphony Orchestra conducted by Louis Clark. Now it's a great record. Uh, if you want to be old-fashioned, call it record. Let's pretend we're going back to the 70s now. We're listening to a record. You've got all of the all of the tracks that you'd expect to hear from E.L.O on there. You've got Evil Woman, Showdown, Rock and Roll is King, I believe, is on there as well. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Blue Sky, and some of the less well-known ones like Ticket to the Moon. They're all on there. There's a whole host of songs on there, so to satisfy you, hopefully. And yeah, it's also got a track on there, a cover of Twist and Shout, which also appears on the No Rewind album, so I'll talk a bit more about their version in a moment. It's very cohesive. You can see they're very, very tight and together. Parson and Huxley and Eric Troyer's vocals in particular are commendable. I mean, I've always loved Eric Troyer singing on the E.L.O material. In some cases better than Jeff Lynne. I just don't know if it's just his purity and the energy that kind of Eric Troyer brings to it. I also like him as a session musician. His work that he's done with Billy Joel and Aerosmith, Kiss, and yeah, all sorts of musicians, and John Lennon, of course, as well. So yeah, they're obviously having great fun. You can hear it in the record, and the energy is all there. If I was to, and this is to be really, really nitpicky about the record, in terms of the actual mix, the orchestra appears pretty low, which I'm very surprised at given the size of the section and especially the strings as well. So because where some of the orchestral bits lack, it kind of takes away the E.L.O.-iness of it, really, because obviously there are bands that are very symphonic driven, and you can only probably hear some the rock section in some of the bits where you should be hearing the orchestra. Having said that, there's the nice drones at the end of Mr. Blue Sky, and some nice licks as well in E.L.O. in Evil Woman, which is greatly complemented by Mick Kaminsky, whose tone is crisp and clear, and it really punches through the PA in the arena and through the mix there. So, essential album if you want to see what they're up to live wise in the 21st century. I believe you can only get this through live gigs and also via P Hooks' website. Although I did see one, obviously on eBay, and selling for quite a hefty price, so be prepared to spend quite a bit on this record. So I think that's enough said about that one. We're going to move down to, I'm going to look at the discography on their website here, so if you want to have a look and you want to search a bit more, there's a good read on there. No Rewind, an interesting album. Released, as I say, in 2001, reissued in South America and Europe in 2006. I got this again when I went to see them at Doncaster Dome. All original material except for the Twist and Shout one track, which is very interesting version actually. It's it starts off in this very plaintive minor key, very slow, very relaxed, and then it goes into the straight rock section that we all know and love, and then it weaves in and out of different movements in a way. It's kind of progressive, and then it all fades into a nice skating stop at the end. You've got the very classic E.L.O. sound again on there. You've got the very sort of 4/4 straight beat on Joe and Johnny, which is reminiscent of Mr. Blue Sky. No Rewind, the title track. Some very nice emulating drums from Gordon Townsend there, pretty much like Rock and Roll is King. And then there's songs like If Only, which reflect the sort of smooth and the relaxed style of some of the tracks like Strange Magic, Wild West Hero. So yeah, it's very, very, and again, the old Parthenon Huxley in particular and Mick Kaminsky really take off on a flight with the solos, and it's good to see some very nice pure guitar tones on there. I think I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I could really say about it apart from this is the last studio album I believe to feature Kelly Groucher. Unfortunately, he passed away. For those of you who are not familiar, he passed away very sadly in 2009 after returning from a gig in Berlin. And the orchestra, they're continuing on. I saw them last year. I've seen them in a few times in the past year, with Glenn Burtnick, who was from Styx and deputised for Kelly on a couple of tours in the E.L.O. Part 2 days. So it's kind of not a massive change, he's familiar with the material and they're still sounding very cohesive. So really do recommend that you go hear them live, and usually mixed with their early E.L.O. stuff, as a bit of original material from this album as well. So it's good to hear them in a live context, and really, really rocking the audience, and the energy's very much there. In fact, for those of you who are interested, I think they are doing, I'll just double check this, I think they are doing a UK gig coming. Well, it's all on the website, www.theorchestra.net, or just type into Google E.L.O. The Orchestra. If you just hang on a moment. and try and find gigs. Which, yeah, they are doing a gig on the 25th of July at No Rewind Festival in Perth, Scotland. And so, if you're there, strongly recommend that you go and see them. So, I think that's just about it. I can do those two CDs and giving you a bit of context about the band there. And yeah, I shall be looking out. I'm not entirely sure whether there'll be any new releases. I'll probably do a review of one of P. Hooks' albums and some of Eric Troy's solo material soon, so keep an eye out for that, and keep an eye out for next week when I review my experience of the Bootleg Beatles live in York Barbican. So something to watch out for. And on that note, ta-ta.